Hi guys, sorry for the delay. I'm coming with a video that I've been meaning to make for a while and I'm finally getting on it. So these are things that are different in Australia and America. Alright, let's get started. The first one, this one kind of came to my attention, I guess when my family came, as well as my friends. They mentioned that the food is not as yummy. And personally, I didn't notice this, I guess, until I tasted Doritos here and I was like, okay, this isn't the usual Dorito-y, yummy goodness taste. Which is kind of good in a sense because that means that junk food in America is really bad because it's addictive. But two, I'm not eating as much junk food here, which is kind of noticeable because I feel like I was starting to gain so much weight before I came here. And since I've moved here, actually, a lot of my friends and my family that have come to visit me have been like, you've lost weight. And I'm like, well, okay. So maybe it's the junk food, maybe it's the lack of additives in the food. Who knows? America, do better. The second one is kind of cultural, I guess. It's really strange. Although my roommates who are British also do the same thing. So in the US, I guess there's more fluctuation of weather. It's hotter, well, at least where I live, it's hotter, it's colder, which means that during the winter or during the summer, we usually have the heat on or the AC on if we're cold or if we're hot. And here it's just not a thing. It's if it's cold or it's hot, they only put it on for a little bit. And then it's well, it is what it is. It's cold and you put on a jumper and brace for it, I guess, and your house is just cold. Or if it's hot, it's just oh, I'll just chill it a little bit and then just have the windows open. It's just really strange to me because I'm hello, if you're hotter and you're cold, use your appliances. But I don't know, maybe it keeps the costs down. Maybe it's cheaper in the US in that sense. I'm not really sure. It's a very interesting cultural shift. Third difference is Americans are not as compliant to rules. So this is most noticeable when it came to driving, where I had a friend come and he was oh yeah, you have to really pay attention to the rules here because you'll get fined by the police if you don't follow the speed limit. And so it's very strictly enforced that you follow the speed limit, that you follow rules, that you put on a seatbelt. And again, this was noticeable when my parents came and we were in Queensland and the drivers were you need to put on your seatbelt. And I guess I've been just accustomed to just putting it on at this point, but for them they were just we have to put on a seatbelt. So it's these really it's good things that are meant to protect you. But I guess that in America we are not used to just being told what to do, which I'm all for how Australia does it. It's all for keeping you safe. So good job, Aussie. Next one is that the men are much more respectful here, and that's just totally noticeable. I had I made an American friend here, and he was hitting on me, and he kind of felt he was entitled to my attention and affection, and I feel that's very American man, a little bit abrasive. And then I've just noticed that the men here are very almost a little too hands off, okay, it is what it is, kind of closer to not caring. But they're kind of gentlemen here too, in a sense that they're not going to be disrespectful to you, they're not going to wolf whistle at you, they're respectful of you. And then that can also be translated to the safety at night, where when I first moved here I was so shocked at how safe it is to walk at night. Needless to say, you shouldn't be doing that. Everywhere in the world can be unsafe, but I definitely noticed that here it's just much more safe, and women are respected a lot more, which good job, Australia. The next one is seasonal decor. I noticed this during Christmas and Halloween, where these two seasons are capitalism mania in the US. Every house is decorated to the brim. There's lights, there's, it's the whole movie shebang. Whereas here it's much less noticeable, much less celebrated, I guess. Halloween is a very small thing compared to the US. So that was interesting. Next one is the pay is generally better here. It's more equitable here compared to the US, where the US it's more like if you're minimum wage, you're minimum wage. If you're really rich, you're really rich. Here it's kind of like they try to make everyone kind of like lump in the middle, like make sure that everyone has a standard of living that's acceptable. Businesses close early here, so do the gyms, which is really annoying. Like you'll notice in the US that if you want to like do a workout class, there's workout classes at like 7 or 8. And then here it's just like, no, that's not a thing. Or it's usually like much more early. I'm just not a morning gym goer, so yeah. And as well, like businesses like cafes, none of them are open after 2 p.m., which is like insane. Especially as a student, because like as a student you just want to have like a coffee and like chill and like vibe, but it's not really the culture here, so maybe that'll change, fingers crossed. There's also a very big laid-back attitude on everything, and as I mentioned before, that includes the guys. The guys are like, can't be bothered, it's very casual here. Dating is not as intense, which pro con, you know. It's also translated into politics, into holidays, into pretty much anything. It's just like a laid back lifestyle, which is exactly what you expect from Australia, but in a sense it can be a little like feather ruffling for an American that's just used to go, and you're just like, all right, let's see what's the next big thing, what's the next big obstacle. And here it's just kind of like, you'll be all right, mate, you know, which is so different. That goes into the next thing. Most things are informal here. They don't really like to have like a stiff attire. It's just more like just take it easy, like informally be this or dress this way, or approach to life in general. Yeah, it's also another observation that I had is that there's not really any guns or military enforcement. Like there's been like a handful of times, probably like 2 or 3 times, where I've seen like people from the armed forces walking around. In the US, I feel like it's a much more common scene. It's definitely much more common to see like people from the police force and etc. So I don't know if that's a pro or con, but yeah, those are some of the observations that I've made that I've not seen anyone else talk about on YouTube. But anyway, I am super happy to be here. Australia is such a beautiful place. It's a great place to live. I'm so grateful to have spent time here, and yeah, if you're interested in seeing more of my content, please give a like, subscribe, and comment something nice.